Here I have going my latest acquisition, a 3D printer. I don't know if you see, I can see it building up a structure there. Well, let's show you what I've done so far. But the only thing I haven't done is encase my iPhone. Now, this sort of thing interests me because I have a machine coming that'll melt this stuff down, turn it back into filament. Now, I could do tests on that to see how strong it is, and when they get broken they can be put back in the box and melted down. Here's something else I made, working gears. That was made in one go, in one hit, printed. Here's a bigger one. Here's one I tried to do in 2 colour, but I ran the white filament snapped, so I ended up with half a print. There's a thing I printed. I drove over that in the car and it wouldn't break. Here's what I'm printing, but this one went wrong, and I'll tell you why in a minute. There's a gear. I don't know if I can get that, it's black, so I don't know if you can see it that well. And these are some of the things that went wrong, but there's a nice gear there. But these things, can't do that one-handed, it's a bit stiff, that one, but this one isn't. This is much smoother. See that? And this is what I'm looking for, it's a bolt. The nut is from a child's construction set, and the bolt I designed on here. Now, let's bring this up. This is Google SketchUp, and this is this box. That's what you got there. My camera isn't picking that up very well, but that is that. This is Google SketchUp, so it's free and open source, and you can design things on it. There are no licenses to pay, so everyone could have their own copy. Let's go File. Let's see what else have I got out here. Let's go Open briefly. Now, Desktop. So I've got my 3D printing folder, and you see that's something I've done, and you see the bolt I've put into it, and that's let's do the let's open. Meanwhile, there's the other printer going there. Let's have a look at that one. That's a bit zoomed in, but that is there, you see. Now, let's go and have a look. The thing that's currently being printed is there. It's I've got some electronics, and I'm making an enclosure for the electronics to build a laser. One of these, a laser line unit. And these were test prints that I did. Just getting used to the machinery. And there's a gear. I don't know if you can see it. Another gear, very long gear. And maybe the white one will show up better. That's from an educational model that I'm yet to assemble. So let's bring up YouTube. There's a YouTube video done by someone else of a model that somebody's produced. A really snazzy model, really weird thing. Kind of novelty. Now this is a favourite. It's an automatic transmission model, and it was produced on a 3D printer. Obviously it had to be assembled, and by engaging various catches he can engage 6 forward gears and 1 reverse. You see, there it is. And that's a different speed. See, he's now put it in reverse. Now that's an educational model that he hasn't had to buy because it's been produced on one of these. You see that one again? That thing there is this. See, I've made my own. And the amazing thing is that prints in one hit, and you can't even take it apart because the shape of the gear teeth, it's printed locked together. And there's one on the internet. And you've seen that one. That's that bearing again. Plenty of stuff on the internet. Now the thing to remember is here's another gadget.
3D printer to make this display model, which illustrates an interesting type of plant.
So the educational value is enormous.
In this video, I'll explain how the drive works,
Now,
and I'll offer a few construction tips in case you decide to make your own.
the nice thing about 3D printing is
Consists of a sun
when you have lots and lots of people,
one or more planet gears, in this case two, and a
you
ring gear in which the planetary gears
if I go 3D printer by the iPhone case, 3D printer. Now I can imagine for an exercise,
so take a look over here.
we could get the girls interested. Turn the sound off. We could get the girls interested in designing cases. Now the really nice thing is they've got working parts in them. So on the one hand it's kind of artistic, and on the other hand it's functional mechanical. And I can see that going down very well with all sorts of kids, because they've all got iPhones these days, and that's a way of linking up with engineering. And here's something I made for forgot the cash was in there, but that's a vintage magnifying glass, and I like to keep it safe, so I made off this, I printed up, they call it printing, I made up this device to put it in. And again you can see the structure, it's not solid, you can adjust how thick the shell is and how much infill there is. And this is an educational thing, it's for an epicyclic gear. So now this thing is open source. There are no licenses involved in those. It's one of a whole generation of machines that you can build yourself. So as a technology class, technology exercise, there's no reason why we can't build more of these, save a lot of money, and in fantastic exercise in mechatronics. And this is the sort of thing I'm good at. This is a knockoff, well, a version of something called the MakerBot Replicator. And in order to popularize the technology, the company who developed the first one made it all open source, so there's no licenses on anything. Their mission is to popularize the technology. That's a MakerWare product, and this is the thing that actually generates the print. Google SketchUp is open source, and there are other, so again there are no licenses involved. So as a school, people could go home, load up Google SketchUp and design stuff, and then make it on their robot. Now one thing I need to do is let's see if I can find layers. One of the problems I had was that when you layers when you have layers, you can get there's an inside and an outside, and if that's a different color, it's because it's inside. and the machine, and that confuses the machine if you don't get it right, and that's why you get disasters like this. Uh, and of course, that's all part of the learning curve. The point is, I am becoming well versed in all aspects of printing. You see, this was when the extrusion wasn't hot enough, and the filament extruded wasn't bonding to itself properly. So the print looked all right, but when I lifted it off the build board, it fell apart. It's structurally disintegrated. So it's all part of the learning curve. It's all part of the whole business of getting versed in this new technology. And as an early adopter of this new technology, the possibilities are huge. The capacity for saving money for producing educational stuff is huge. And it's one thing I can certainly bring to the table uh, if I get taken on as the technician. So yes, I have a lot of experience in showing stuff to kids, not least my own son, who's since become an engineer himself. And I'm hoping that this will put the lid on it. So as part of my job interview process, I hope this is the clincher. You know, as technology classes, you can design things like this, you can test them to destruction, and then the pupils can go away, make modifications to their design in SketchUp and see what effect it has. You know, that's really good stuff. And as I say, I have a machine coming from America that will melt all this down and basically turn it back into filament. So that will be very handy as a school project. And of course these can be built under open license, so there wouldn't just be this one, there'd be others, and the person to build them would be me, because you do need some technological knowledge. And so yeah, I think this would be a really excellent addition to any school. It's a new technology. This is now at where computers were in the 80s and 90s. So there you have it.